Big Stan, man, what's up with you, baby? What's good with you, man? Where you been?
Another day in the life.
Apparently so, man. It's been a hot little minute since I've been out here with you, man. From what I remember seeing, I'm proud to say I know you, man, because from what I remember seeing, you had this exact setup you got, but you done added more stuff to your entourage and what you got going on. And also, I've been seeing you've been moving around way more than just being locally right here. So give people from our last account what's been happening from then to now. I'm proud of you, baby. I want to see.
Man, I appreciate it. First off, thanks for coming out here. Thank you. I mean, we just really started doing more business. So like before, we were just kind of still figuring out how to train, what my style was, where I fit into this dog world. And I realized I really don't fit into the existing dog world, so we actually kind of had to start making our own lane.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you made his own lane. Okay, we listening. What's up?
So like obstacles is my favorite thing to do with the dogs. It builds confidence, it builds relationship, and it reminds me of sports. Like when you were hooping, there was stuff that you had to do. There was cone drills, there was different stuff, and you got better because of these challenging things that you had to do.
Absolutely.
So I just try to look at dogs as like athletes, even pet dogs, like all of these things. Like I want the relationship between the handler and the dog to grow. So if somebody comes with me and they're like, hey, I want my dog to be the best pet, it's like, all right, bet, do this, this, and this. Oh, I want a working dog, hey, you got to do this, this, and this. But it all boils down to the relationship that you have with the dog.
So with that being said, for the relationship, because I understand how they work, how important is a relationship with a dog that you know compared to a new dog that you're just not getting from boarding and training? How important is the relationship?
So, I mean, the first 4 days of a boarding training, all I'm doing is buddying up with the dog. So we come in here, hang out, I'll give them some treats, let them know, hey, I'm cool. Because if the dog doesn't trust me or want to work, now they have to do these things. And if they have a choice between going and chase one of these cats or listening to come back to me, why would they choose me if they don't even like me? So it's the most important thing. So the first 4 or 5 days, depending on the dog, is all a bonding phase. Because dogs know how to sit, they know how to lay down, they know how to jump, they know how to do everything we want them to do, but we have to tell them when we want them to. And why would they do that unless they like us? Even a little bit, you know what I mean? Like,
so from people who, let's say I found you online like I did last time. I like, I want to board my dog with Iron Shop K9, man. I don't want the prices. I just want to know what should I expect to get from you if I don't know what I want. So will you be able to give me, like, I can give you this type of dog, I can give you this type of dog or that type of dog? Do you have like options for them, or is everything cookie cutter?
So I mean, dogs are definitely not cookie cutters. So every dog's going to be its own individual. So I'm going to make your dog the best dog that your dog can be. So if you give me a dog that has 10 potential, oh, we're going to the 10. But if you give me a 2 or a 3, I might get you up to a 4 just because. But I mean, I can't put something in the dog that's not there. So like a lot of people hit me up, hey, I want my dog to be like Rocko. I'm like, Rocko just did shit, and I started marking it. So like, your dog don't have it already. Like, I can't make him have this drive. I can't make him be athletic. So like, I can only work with what you give me. So I don't ever overpromise. I don't perform miracles. You know, that is not me. I would do the best that I can to make your dog a little bit sharper. But again, you have to know at least what you want to do with your dog, so then I can point you in that direction. And then they actually have to put in the work when they get the dog back. Because I can get your dog to do anything, but if you don't do nothing I tell you, that dog's not going to care.
So you mean that once I send my dog to you when he's been here X amount of days, when I get my dog back to my house, I go back to my normal routine. My dog is not going to have your routine that you put into him. Oh. I got to keep doing the shit.
So if they're learning the routine here and now they go somewhere else, yeah, they have to learn a new routine. Oh, so damn. It's, people think, oh, I sent my dog off to training, now I'm getting a robot back. It's still an animal at the end of the day.
I thought it one and done. I thought I could send my dog to you, man, you got it. When you come back in the house, I can still eat Cheetos. My dog just gonna work himself out in the living room on something. I thought he was gonna do that.
Nah, man. I mean, if it was, sometimes you'd be like, dang, I wish it was that easy. But no, I mean, and even if they don't do half of what we say, if they do 25%, they're gonna have a better relationship with their dog. Because my job is to help them understand their dog better. So like what we're doing in a boarding train is seeing what habits this dog has, what behaviors, and then how to either prevent them or improve them. So the place command is one of the best commands for the pets, because sometimes you just want your dog to do absolutely nothing. Leave you alone. Don't be over here messing with me. Go sit down and chill. So that's something that most people will start implementing a lot, because it is a very beneficial command. And it's like, you don't have to have a focus heel. You don't have to have the dog doing all the tricks. All people want their dog to do is come when they call.
Right.
Do nothing, meaning leave me alone, and being able to play sometimes. Those are the three things that people want with their dogs. And that play sometimes is either protection work, disc, nose work, or even just playing the fetch with your dog. So if you can get those three things in a dog, most people are going to be happy, because they're not going to put in the work that it really takes to have a focus heel and all of the fun tricks and stuff like that.
And that's what Iron Shop specializes in. You specialize in that specific stuff right there predominantly, but you do other things too, but you specialize in obedience. We try to get you together as to what the customer wants. I can make this dog do that right there within this range.
Yeah. So basically, we are dog communicators, animal communicators. You'll see me start working with that cat too.
Oh, you're talking about the little Mexican dude or whatever he is up he on TV. What's his name?
He said Caesar Milan.
There we go. Yeah.
That's a dog whisper. I'm communicating. I'm talking. I ain't whispering.
Okay,
I ain't whispering.
So you get your point across.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just being able to talk to something that can't talk back, and it's putting them in positions to be successful, showing them, hey, you get a reward if you do these things for me. You're gonna get something out of it if you do this. But if you don't do these things, there's a consequence, and that doesn't mean you're elbow dropping or beating the shit out of a dog to get them to comply. It's they may not get to go out and play. They may not get their meal. They may not get that ball. And those things teaches the dog that, hey, if I don't listen, they're not going to keep repeating and I get what I want at the end. If I don't listen between 1 or 2 times, I may not get to do anything. I may get basically put in a timeout per se. So there's levels to a correction, and like people, they're like, oh, I don't ever want to correct my dog. It's like, you're going to have something that's dangerous on your hands. Like, I want my dog, if I say no, that means something, because if they're either running out in the street and you tell them no and your no has no value, now you got a dead dog. Or if somebody comes in the house and your dog's not socialized and they trying to bark and growl and bite everybody, and you say no and it don't mean nothing, now you have a liability. These are problems. And then that's what we usually get, these older dogs that have problems, and then they don't realize that they created the problem and never corrected it. So
I got a question for you, man.
Yes, sir.
I know you know a bit about it, man. I would ask you to, how deep do you feel the difficulty is in making a mediocre dog a good dog versus a dog that's already coming with kind of somewhat of the goods, a good dog, a great dog? Is it big difficulty in making a mediocre one a good one versus one who already come kind of good and making it great?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same, because you're only trying to improve what's already there. So when you get the mediocre dogs, and sometimes those mediocre dogs surpass the dog that is up here. So it's just like sports. There's been somebody who's genetically gifted, right? But somebody else puts in a little bit more reps, a little bit more time, and they pass that person. So if a dog is wanting to work and willing to, we can improve it. So it's not, I don't think there's a gap between a good dog making them great and then a mediocre dog and making them great.
Absolutely.
It's just a little bit more work.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And then sometimes it's just finding what motivates this mediocre dog.
Right.
So once you find that trick, you're like, oh shit, we can get them to do anything. And a lot of times people are trying to motivate the dog with what they think the dog likes versus what the dog actually likes. Just like the treadmill. I can bring my dogs in here and they see that treadmill, they're going to jump on it even if we're not even doing that, because they like to work. So if we're doing something and they get rewarded with the mill or frisbee run or whatever we're doing, they're going to work harder for it. And it's just, people don't want to actually push their dogs these days.
Absolutely. So the mediocre dog probably is more about, it's a little more harder to get motivated.
Yeah.
More. So it's about you finding what, it might be a little harder than others, but it's just about you finding what they are into enough, what they do like, pretty much.
And if they're going to put in the time to get it. just like Kobe Bryant. He tells a story. He was like, there was a point where I was never even on the top 50 players, but I made a list and I crossed everybody out because he would spend the time. When they're eating lunch, he's in the gym hooping. When they're doing this,
yeah.
And now he's one of the greatest players to ever play.
100%.
So it's like he was a mediocre player at the very beginning, but he put in that work, and then he became the greatest, or one of of that's a topic for another day.
Absolutely.
LBJ for president.
Yeah. There we go.
God damn. So let's just say I want to swap up topics just a little bit because I seen that you had something I was very much interested in. I noticed you got your working dog, but you also had another dog that wasn't from a working line of dog, and I've been seeing you running around with him, man. Little fluffy little dog named Boots. What made you get this little dog right here? Because he's entertaining. I like seeing him when you with that little dog. I'm like, this a whole different level here. What made you get a Australian Shepherd mixed dog?
So what you literally just said is the reason why I got it. Because everybody expects me to have a blockhead or something that looks tough. So I'm like, man. So Trev was saying, like, he was like, hey, Stan, you need more of a white people dog. It's like, you can only reach a certain crowd when you have these kind of dogs. I'm like, hey, that makes sense. Like, because that Me Too thing, like, oh, me too. If I have a blockhead dog, oh, yeah, I'm going to send him to Stan. Because we would get that. Oh, do you only work with pit bulls? I'm like, no, like, I've done, Aussies, I've done English Spaniels, I've done Chihuahuas, weenie dog, like all of that. Like I do dogs, so I don't care what it is. But if you don't ever see me with different dogs, they're like, that's all he does. So having Boots, it's been fun, man. It has been a blast. And I don't know if you saw it's different too. It's a lot different. But I don't know if you saw America's Top Dog, that dog Maker, the Border Collie.
Yeah.
So that dog actually inspired me to get Boots. Really? Yeah, so me and John was cool. I said, man, John, I said, you like having a dog like that? He said, it's the smartest dog I've ever done. Like, it's so easy to get them to do anything. I was like, I'm getting me an Aussie. So I got Boot, and again, it's just been so easy just to communicate with him. Like, there hadn't really been just like a bunch of power struggles or anything that he couldn't figure out. And it's literally sometimes it's like, hey, no, don't do that. And he's like, oh my God, my world's ending. But with Rocko, he gonna do something 100 times and take every correction if he still wanna go do it. And it's like, But getting a dog like that has been so much more peaceful. Like, it's just been so much fun. And then, even going out with them, if you got a blockhead, people look at you like, oh, that dog's vicious. And they're like, bro, this dog don't care about nothing. You had this little Aussie boy. Everybody, oh my God, that dog is so beautiful. I'm just like, man, leave me alone. I don't feel like talking to nobody right now. But he's pretty, man.
He's impressionable, boy. He leaves a reminder, like, he make you do a double take, like, you got one of those dogs. Especially if people who've seen you with those more working dogs, more structured heavy dog, they see a more light, nimble dog that's fluffy too. They're like, oh, I like this dog. Like how you said to me too, I can have him too. I can get this here too. I can see some of this too. So I think it was a damn good smart move. Even though I know he's a good dog, I'm like, man, that's a good look to have something like that for the public eye, where they can sit, where you can pretty much open yourself up to more clientele. Like, man, I can do it all. It ain't just big dogs. I can do the little dogs too. I like the little dog. You be having them running in the water. You put him with the big dog. Like, but he worked with the big dog, but he got his own little nimbleness to him.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I like a more compact dog. Like, I don't need a 150-pound dog because that dog takes up a lot of space.
Oh, they eat a
So
lot.
like, you in the car, he taking up the whole back seat. It's like, dang, I can't even put nothing back there. Literally, yesterday we're driving up. He's laying on the floor. The crate falls on top, like, and he still has about this much space, and he's just down there chilling. I'm like, man, if this is a 150-pound dog, like, it would have been a ruckus back there and all of this. Going on trips, we went to New York. He sat right under the seat like a carry-on. Like, nobody even knew he was there.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Convenience.
Yeah.
It's a different type of convenience.
It's a pocket rocket,
All the way.
But then he'll still get active. And it's because of the relationship we built. And these dogs is not designed to, like, do what we have him doing. Like,
No.
And
They're not made for that, but you got him doing it.
But it just took time. So it wasn't an easy process at the beginning, and it was very frustrating. I'm like, man, he ain't biting. He don't want to do this because he bite and nip. He bite and let go because that's what they're supposed to do to the herd.
To the herd. They herding dog. They just take a nip on the leg and get the hell out the way. They not finna risk getting kicked.
So all of those things, but it made me, even having to get outside of my, okay, ABC, this is how you do it. Like, all right, we had to think outside the box. how I got him to actually bite and hold is the wall climb. He had enough drive for the tug, put it up about 2.5 feet. So he was only this high off the ground, right? And he would go up, and if he nipped, he lose. He nipped, he lose. He held on, boom, he won. Then he figured out, okay, I gotta hold this, and this is how I win. And then we just transferred it to the sleeve, to the suit, and again, now, like you said, he's jumping off of cliffs and going through water, jumping up walls, and then coming back. So
Okay, man, I am impressed. I am from a person who understands dogs. I am impressed. When I saw that little dog, I was like, first thing came to mind, what the fuck you got him for? But then as time went on, I was, oh, that's a good look. Oh, that's a damn good look, because you got an apartment-made animal out here running around in the field. Even though they for the field, people today, the newer generation, they'll get that dog and put him in an apartment, just hope they turn out good. You got an apartment-made animal that can be out in the field ripping and running with all the big dogs and can still go back home in the apartment and chill.
Yep.
Dude, congratulations.
And then he's good with the kids too. So like my youngest, she'll be, hey Dad, I be trading boots. I'll be watching. I'll be like, oh, he's just so gentle with her. Like he'll take the tug gentle. Like he's smart enough to differentiate between biting on a man and then playing with the kid. Like Rocko, he knocking you over. Like he just has one gear, and it's great, when you need it to be that. But it's like, damn, like, bro, can you chill a little bit? Like, but.
So speaking of Rocko, man, how is that? Because that was the first one they ever put his mouth on, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I said, when I first caught myself trying to hop into the working dog era and put a suit on, which I ain't put one on since then, I was under the impression that that the suit was going to give me protection unimaginable. That's not how it worked. Rocko old ass bit me hard enough to where I can still feel his teeth, even the small teeth, in my arm. So I'm just asking though, is the old man still doing this thing, or is he gone?
Nah, he's still around. As of right now, I think I'll probably have another 2 years with him. He's been on a good diet. He gets out, exercise, and then I don't really do much with him now. So he'll come out. Like yesterday, we had about 3 or 4 bites. I mean, he did damn good. And the guy said the same thing. He's like, man, I didn't expect to feel it. And he left some bruises. I was like, okay, the old man still got something. But in that same sentence, we was doing a sit, and this dude's probably like 6'4", 6'5", so he was wiggling that arm, and Rocko jumped up, and he didn't get as high as he used to. so I mean, the old man is slowing down just a wee bit.
Age catching into him, huh?
But he still don't have no quit in him. So I mean, if the situation happens, I think he would gladly do what he need to do. Like 50 Cent said, or die trying.
Look
you can't ask for anything more than that. Like I got 10 years out of you already.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't even expect that we would be doing half the things that we've done. I just got a $100 dog. I just liked how he looked, and he was the homie. and again, that goes back to what we said at the beginning: building a relationship. Before I got into dog training, Rocko was 2 years old. But all we did was ride around and go have fun. I would take his tug, put it in a tree, and wait. What you gonna do, bro? You gonna get it or not? And he climbed the tree, scaled it. I was like, okay, what else can I get you to do? And then we just started doing more and more. And then it was like, people was like, man, don't bring that dog over here. I'm like, all right, well, shit, if you don't want me to bring my dog, I ain't going.
Already.
And it kept me out of places that I didn't need to be.
Yeah.
So, it's like, dogs are... I think they're like our guardian angels, if we're talking biblical and all that.
Correct.
But, I mean, because they're going to have your back. But you also have to make sure you're pouring in them too. Because if you're only taking, or expecting, like that dog is going to choose itself over you. And that dog has to know that you have his back just as much as you have, or he has your back.
Correct. I mean, it is a 50-50 run, as it should be. I mean, you can give and take a little bit more, but I do understand what you're saying, but I am a fan of the relationship. A good relationship with a hound will make everything work out for you to where you ain't got no issue. Is somebody loose?
Yeah.
Mine. Okay.
Hey!
Nah, we can't do it no more.
I was like, nah. We back to the... Far as the relationship goes, because it's always best to have a relationship with an animal, how would you consider the best thing to do to build that for a new client? If I'm coming and I just got this dog from the rescue and I'm like, I don't know what to do with the dog. This puppy is 4 months old. It's not listening to me. It won't really let me feed him a whole lot. I gotta walk away before he eat. It's kind of scared of me. How would I build up a relationship with this animal if I've never had it before and I really do like it?
Yeah, it's time. I mean, there's no cheat code. There's no fast track to it. It just takes time, and it may take 21 days. It may take 90 days. But if you're gonna have this dog for at least, hopefully we have our dogs for at least 8 years. Like, what is 30 days? What is 90 days? Like, you have to take the time, and you can't force it. You can't force a relationship on the dog. If the dog don't like you, the dog don't like you. There's things that you can try to do to, build it, but I mean, dogs have personalities just like us. We don't like everybody we meet, so the dog's not gonna like everybody. But if you take the time to be like, hey, I'm beneficial, we're gonna play together, I got food, da-da-da-da, I like you, I'm gonna pet you, all of these things, then the dog may, warm up a little bit. But it's just time for anything that you want your dog to do. Whether it's the obedience stuff, whether it's building a relationship, building confidence, it's just time. There's nothing else. You got to be patient.
Put in the work. Who's willing to put in the work?
So I can't get this done in the 30-second reel, huh?
Nah.
30-second reel ain't gonna get my dog to where he love me now, huh? Damn.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. There's some dogs, but yes, you can. You meet that dog the very first time, they're like, yeah, you're my best friend, let's go. And it's like, when I get dogs like that, I'm like, shit, we finna have this dog doing everything. So, I mean, it does happen, but realistically, if you're getting a dog that has some issues, one, you don't know what the dog's issues are. So if you get a rescue dog that's older, you don't know why they're timid. You don't know why they don't trust you. So you have to, one, figure out something. Okay, he acts this way around men, so a man probably did something to him, so I got to make sure I try to buddy up with him even more. Or they're scared of a trash can because they got in the trash one day and the owner beat them with it. So now they're like, fuck that trash can. So like, you have to figure out what is wrong with the dog before you can even try to mend the relationship. And that's why getting a rescue dog is really 50-50. And people are like, man, go, adopt, don't shop. And it's like, I mean, if I know exactly what I'm looking for, like with Boot, I wanted a working dog who was tough, could do anything, and was pretty. And when I went, he was actually not even the one I was originally picking out the litter because he wasn't the best looking dog. But when we went up to Arkansas, I brought my blank pistol, I brought a can of rocks, a tug, and I think that was it. They're all running around. Boom. He looks and just walks off. I was like, okay, let's check in the right box. The next one, threw the can down. He looked, just kind of was like, walked off. I was like, okay, check. Chased the tug. But the thing that got me, right, she had about, I think he's like 4 or 5 kid, right? And he's running around with him, boom, boom, boom. And he goes, woo, throws him up and he lands in like this puddle of water. It was like a little pool thing. And he didn't whine, he didn't whimper. He said, jumped out and was gone. I was like, I didn't even have that box on there, but let's check that one too. And then they had the stairs. The little boy ran up the porch and he was the only one that ran up them stairs. I said, okay, I want that one. And then on the way back from Arkansas, it's a 5-hour ride. First time ever being in a car. Didn't get car sick. Slept the whole time. So I'm like, oh, yeah. And when you know what you're looking for, those are things that you can get. But if you go get a rescue dog, that dog's probably gonna have car sickness. That dog's probably gonna be scared of his shadow. And if I'm trying to do some working dog stuff or having a dog that I'm trying to compete with where I know potentially it's gonna be some low light stuff, it's gonna be people yelling, it's gonna be probably 6'6" big guys yelling and screaming at the dog. So like, I can't have none of that. Oh, I don't like men, so I'm gonna act this way. Like, nah, we can't do that. But there's nothing wrong with getting a rescue dog as well, but you have to understand there's going to be limitations because you don't know nothing about the background.
Now, I must admit, this whole damn time, dude, I could have swore I'd have lost money gambling. I would have swore that Boots was a rescue dog. I am impressed that you actually went and picked out a specific dog.
Yeah, that was selectivity.
That was a selection of what you want.
Selectivity.
Yeah. That is called knowing what you want before you get it. That's I would have swore up and down, this is a rescue dog. And I thought for all this time, watching that dog grow up on Instagram, I thought this is a rescue dog. And I'm impressed that you went and specifically sought out this animal. I thought you just said, come on, let's go. Boy, that's good. Boy, look, I'm impressed.
That
Boy.
was good selection.
Yeah.
I'm impressed, boy.
I knew what I wanted. I wanted a dog who could work, was pretty, but also is smart enough to be able to chill.
That is damn good. So basically, if anybody who's wanting a dog, they should actually have a reason for having a dog other than I just want a hand ornament. You should actually want this dog to do something, whether it's I want this dog to be able to sit on command, or I want this dog to be able to be around friends and family. You should have a purpose for an animal outside of just I want to feed a dog.
Or a status symbol.
Yeah. Yes.
You should.
I would totally think
I believe that myself.
you're going to have a better relationship with the dog if you have that intent. But there are also dogs that are
I mean, it's lap
ornaments.
it's
Like,
lap dogs.
There's dogs that don't do anything. So if that's what you're getting a dog for, get that specific breed. But like if you, like you said, live in an apartment, you work all day, don't get a Malinois. Don't get a dog that needs 75 hours of running a day to be okay, and then they sleep for 5 minutes and need to do it again, and you're not going to have any time because that dog is going to be a problem. He's going to start tearing up your furniture. He's going to start tearing up your carpet, your house, and now you're spending a whole lot more money on the dog than you ever intended. So if you have a lifestyle where you can't provide for the dog, just don't. Like, don't get those kind of dogs. Get you a little foo-foo dog. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
But hold, I still want the Malinois, even in an apartment. So would I be able to utilize your services to house him while I'm at work? Like to board him, and then, you do all that for me, and I come home.
I do a board and train, but after that, the dog goes back to you. I don't do the day-by-day stuff. So, I mean, that's too time-consuming. But no.
I might get a little dog then. I might get a little Frenchie.
If you get these kind of
We
dogs.
wouldn't even get paddle for this very reason.
Yeah.
He know he's just messing with you. We won't get paddle deals for that very reason.
Yeah,
Everything you just explained. That's why me and him don't have a habit on paddle deals. And we like them dogs and jagged terriers too.
Yeah.
He know he's messing with you.
Yeah, it's just too much. But I mean, these are real questions that people have though. Like,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
they're saying, well, I want this dog and I'm gonna give it to you and it's gonna be fixed. It's like, I'm gonna help your dog, but again, if you don't do anything when you get the dog back,
They just
if you
regress
don't
back
use
into what
it,
it
you
was.
lose it, man. And
Yeah.
and then if you're afraid of the dog and you don't ever correct the dog, now that dog knows that all he has to do is look at you and you can be like, okay, cool, I'm good. And these people get these big, powerful 185-pound monsters, but then they don't really ever build a relationship. Then they try to force, and then these dogs go through puberty, and then people get ate up.
Now, from social media, I've been seeing some online through YouTube and other stuff. They got something called, I think no aggressive training, no soft hand training. Forgot what it's called. It's pretty much they don't do no correction with the dog. How does that work?
I mean, I don't know. I can't even. The all positive method.
That's it. All positive. Yeah, that's it. How does that work? Because I've seen the end result on social media, but they don't show me what it took to get there. I'm like, what all positive you have to do with a 85-pound animal who is showing so much dog aggression, so much human aggression, food aggression? How did you control that down to just say, no, boy? Like, how did that work?
It's a long process of that. And the thing is, that dog still may be reactive in certain situations because there's never been a negative consequence for it. He's learned, okay, I'll tolerate this, I'll get something. But again, it's an animal at the end of the day. The all positive, like you said, I've seen the results too, and you're just like, how?
Yeah.
Some of these dogs, you're just like, man, that dog was real good, but how long did it take? And a lot of times, that's the only dog these people have. So it's like they can spend 3 years, working with the dog to improve it.
You know what? That is true. I have never seen it past the dogs they presented. Mm-hmm. It has only been that one. Every particular trainer I've seen on social media, they've only showed just that one dog with the positive stuff. I haven't seen like a flurry of them. Mm-hmm. I ain't seen. I only seen just one dog, and they showing this is a positive dog, and he do X, Y, Z, and he has the training, but they never showed another one.
And it's like, you gotta it's a two-way street. The reason why we don't speed is because we know we can get a speeding ticket. If every time we got pulled over, we got a warning, or even worse, they give us $100, like, we're gonna keep speeding because there's no consequence. And again, that doesn't mean you have to like be super hard on the dog and they have to be a robot and listen to everything you say. But when you tell them no, it needs to have some type of value because it's something that can keep them safe. And these people never set boundaries for their dogs. And then man, my dog ate something and didn't process it. Now we got to pay $5,000 surgery. It's like, well, you could have told your dog no. Like that could have, prevented that from happening. So it's like consequences are good because you have to hold the dog accountable. But people don't want to hold themselves accountable because I don't agree in correcting a dog for something they don't know what they did. So if you've never taught your dog to come to you, you can't correct them when they don't come to you. They don't know why they're being corrected. So it's a lot of accountability on the handler or the owner, and it's easier just to, oh, my dog's dumb, he don't listen. No, you ain't never taught him how to.
It's a good case in point right there, man. Like I said, so selection does have something to do with it. If you so basically you saying adopting, back to that point, back to that subject, adopting just limits the selectivity of the consumer or owner to be a dog, pretty much. But when you do have the chance for open selection, and you know your purpose and what you're getting the dog for, like you say, you put your list together, and you went out there, he passed all the tests, ended up being one of the best dogs you've had in a lifetime.
Yeah, and it saves you a lot of headache.
Hey, man.
Because if they're already starting,
you can do it, people.
If they're already starting here, you don't have to do anything to get them there. If the dogs aren't checking those boxes off, now you got to do the work to even check the boxes off. And sometimes, some dogs may not get over the fear of a gunshot or whatever. So it's like, now you're just shooting yourself in the foot at that point. So again, there's nothing wrong with, getting a dog that's older, helping a dog out, rescuing. Like, I applaud all those people that do it. There are a lot of dogs in some fucked up situations. So, applaud you guys. Thank you for that. But for what I need a dog for, it wouldn't be beneficial because I'm rolling the dice already, even getting a dog that has all these characteristics. Absolutely. But now I'm rolling the dice on a dog that I don't even know has those characteristics. Like, that's a lot more headache than I need. It's about being peaceful nowadays, man.
Yeah, that goes back to when I asked you earlier about making a mediocre one, a good one, versus one that already come with just a little talent of some sort, or a little more listening skills, a little, little tighter in the head. They come that way, and making that good one a great one. Yeah. But selection, you brought that into the point. Selectivity is definitely can be a major part if you have the time to do that. Being willing to put in the work.
Even a great example of what you just said about the mediocre dog making them good. So I had Jax and Rocko. So Jax is a little blue dog that I got. And I liked him more than Rocko because he looked good, he had his muscle tone, all of that. So I was doing the exact same thing. Yeah, he was good looking dog. I was doing the same thing with him, but like Rocko was always just a little bit better. And then I took Jax out to Walmart one time. First time I took him out in public. We walk into the first little double doors where the basket's at, and he takes a shit in the middle of Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, because he was just so terrified, right? I ain't never take him out again. I said, okay, I have to spend so much time to get this dog to the point where he won't shit in public. Absolutely. Or I'm just going to spend all my time with Rocko. And that's what we did, and we made it on America's Top Dog. So
put it all into him.
I could have spent this time, but it would have, to get him to be okay, would have probably taken more time than what I did with Rocko.
Oh, yeah, see, that's why when I made the category, I said mediocre, making him a good dog, because sometimes you can't take a mediocre dog and make it a great dog because his shortcomings will stop it from being great, but you can work with it enough to get it to be at least good. Yep. And then you get one that already come with a little of the goods, and you make that a great dog. You get on TV shows, you see what I'm saying? Because he came with the goods. He passed all your tests in the first place. Yeah. So I said, all of those random dog shit is dead. Yeah, you can't know what you're doing. Know what you're going after. Know what you want. At
least have an idea. You don't have to know for sure, but if you want to have a working dog, get a dog that was made to work. If you want a dog that is more companion, get a companion dog. And you got to understand all of these things. Like, do your research before you get dogs as well. And if a breeder's telling you that dog is not for you, listen to them. And don't go to another breeder who's just going to take your money, because people are being honest because, hey, if you can't handle this dog, it's going to be a liability. And people that sell dogs, they want these dogs to go into homes for lifetimes, not only for a little bit. And you got to remember, if you are getting a dog, it's not, don't impulsively buy a dog. It is a lifetime commitment. Again, at least 8 years. If you got even a mediocre health dog, at least 8 years. And nowadays, these dogs is living to about 17, 18 years old. So
you don't count your 10, add 10 as soon as you get one for the most part. If you got one decent health condition most of his life, a decade with it. A decade with it easy.
So, and then, and then even saying that, allow the dog to grow up before you expect them to be finished. So I get messages every day, hey, I just got an 8-week-old dog. What do I need to do to make him a guard dog? Well, one, build his confidence up and let him, at least eat all solid food. Like, let's start there. But it's like people want these babies to be these big bad monsters. And it's like, would you expect your 5-year-old son to be, somebody kicks in your door? What do you expect your 5-year-old son to do?
Right.
Take out running.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't expect a baby to do a man's job or, a grown woman's job in that case.
Yeah,
so one, you have to build the dog's confidence up, teach them all the skills that they need when they are young. And then when they go through puberty, now they got everything that they need. And now you can expect something from the dog. But as a baby, like, let that dog grow up, man. Like, John told me he had the border collie. He said, don't really expect nothing from Boots until he's 2, because herding dogs are real immature. But at 2 years old, for whatever reason, the switch clicks.
It's all there.
And I was like, okay, bet. So we ain't really put pressure on him, really expected too much. But now he's 2, and like you can see him mentally maturing. So I was like, okay, and that's it. If somebody gives you some advice, take heed to it, especially if you asked.
You think people like more, the public is more, a little less prone to knowing when the dog is actually fully mature? Because I've seen the 2-year-old Great Dane definitely not mature as the 2-year-old Staffordshire. Mm-hmm. Terry, where you like, their age is different. Like, do the bigger breeds actually take a little more period where some people can't expect 2 years to be the minimum for every dog? Because some is into the 3, 4, what you think?
Yeah, so if you have a bigger dog, and I always tell people, you have a 100-pound puppy. Like, just because a Great Dane is 8 months old and 112 pounds, he's still just a child. We all know we've hooped, we've played some sport, and there's always been somebody who was way taller than everybody and couldn't make a layup. When we was in middle school, elementary, like, they was just goofy. Like, they was tall, but they wasn't,
coordinated enough.
But short folks, we was, because we matured faster into our body frame. So yes, if you get these bigger dogs, the Mastiffs, the Rottweilers, these big dogs, I mean, you're really looking at 3, like you said, 3, 4 years old before they're like mature.
Yeah, and you gotta know that, like I said, 'cause then you expecting things like it's not on the same page. Irish Wolfhounds and type animals. Yeah, you can go and get a 3.5. You start looking up and around there to see the true, mature dog in those breeds.
Yep. And if you get a smaller dog, it's faster because obviously they're maturing faster. They're physically done growing, so now they're done using their hormones to grow, and now they're growing their mind. So it's like, you have to understand that. And I mean, I think there's not really been like a lot of like good information that's out in the dog world. I think a lot of people they sugarcoat and they bullshit a lot because you can tell somebody who doesn't know anything, and they're gonna believe you.
Oh yeah.
So there was somebody who came out and they said the trainer told them, don't ever pet the dog under the chin because that's a sign that you're submitting to the dog. I said, what?
Yeah, they be blowing
how does that even make sense?
A lot of places.
That's actually the best place to pet a dog because you're showing them, hey, I ain't got nothing, I'm not trying to hurt you, and it's like a handshake. When you reach over that dog's head, there's some dogs that are like, nah, what you doing, bro? Like, don't give me a hug, I don't know you. But every dog's gonna like getting scratched under the chin. So like, if these people, they don't really have the information, but they believe it, so then somebody else believes it, and you're just like, you ask them why, and they're like, well, I don't know.
So
I can't pet my own dog?
They need to educate themselves.
Yeah.
Basically, a lot of deep, serious educating of themselves. Because sitting there just taking another person's word for it, You're right. They could be feeding you straight bull corn.
Yep. You got to ask why.
But since the information not that available online apparently, because if everybody's seen it be an expert, what would be a good book for somebody to sit down and read on animal behavior? What would be a good read for something like that?
So I'm actually reading this one right now. I think it's called the Culture Class or Clash, and it's by Lisa Donaldson, I believe. But that's a good book because it's actually talking about you have to remember an animal is an animal. And like we can't expect our dogs to understand that chewing on the sofa is wrong if we've never shown them that it's not wrong. And if we only correct them when we're there, now the dog only associates doing the bad behavior when you're there, and when you're not there, the dog's still gonna do what it wants to do because they never taught the dog. And I was reading it and I was like, man, this is pretty good little information. I mean, it's a hard read actually because he's using all these scientific and psychological words. And you're like, okay, I gotta Google this. What does this mean? Go back and forth. But it's breaking it down for people to really understand. And I guess this lady did a whole lot of research because like I'm even looking at it. I'm like, well, change my perception on that. Good. And I think that's what it's about as well. If you do hear something about a dog and it goes against something that you were taught or you used to think, like, you should probably try to hear it out. Like, you don't have to go with it blindly, but give it a try. And if it had success for this person, it might have success for you. And if it doesn't, you can try something else. But you actually have to put in the work. And a lot of people, they'll try something for 1 or 2 days. Oh, it didn't work. Bro, did you ever do something for 1 or 2 days and you got it? Like, no. Like, how many times did we shoot free throws? Every day. So nobody wants to put in the work these days, and they get stuck. And if somebody does, critique or say something, like, I think they take it personal. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing when I got into the dog world, probably almost, the last time we did a little interview, like, comments would bother me because I'm like, oh shit, damn, I'm fucking up. But then I'm like, okay, and if somebody's saying I did something wrong in the video, well, one, they have no context of the video. I had Hero on the treadmill. One of the comments was, if the dog is locked up for 24 or 23 hours out of the day, anything's for freedom. I said, bro, this dog is out all day. We go and travel. He'll swim in the pool. Like, you see a 30-second video and you's like, oh, he's on lockdown 24 hours a day. Like, what the hell? So it's like, once you just start learning, it's just like, it is what it is. Like, the comments is not going to make or break you. But then there's also some truth in it. Sometimes in the video, the people be like, oh, the dog should have did this better. And then you watch it and he was like, well, shit, you're right. So now I'm going to work on that. I didn't even think I needed that. So I appreciate you helping me get better. Watch this next video, though. Yeah, watch it. I do appreciate you watching, but now we're finna, but then nobody want to say anything. It's like, oh, you quick to tell me what my dog's doing wrong, but you ain't never going to tell me that my dog is good or he looks cool or whatever, nothing. And I think there's just so much hate in the dog world. Like, I can't have a good dog. You have a good dog too. Like, my dog has to suck for your dog to be good. I'm like, wow, how does that even work? Like, we're not even doing the same thing. Like you said, if you can find me another black person with an Australian Shepherd on the internet, bro, like, I ain't seen it. And then, if you can, is it doing what Boots is doing? No. Have you ever seen, the other dog I've seen like that do it is Maker. And that's John's dog. So it's like, there ain't too many of them that is doing what we're doing, but nobody ever says nothing. But if he does something wrong, and he came off a bite, I don't give a fuck. Like, he went for it. Like, he went for it. Like, cool. Like,
y'all knew it.
So,
well, look here, man. Stan, I appreciate you letting me sit and talk with you, man. I really do appreciate you giving me an update of how you've been doing everything, man. So before we wrap this up, I want you to let everybody in the social media world know, World Wide Web, how can they get a hold of you to acquire your services to assist them on their dog journey, man?
So it's Iron Sharp K9 on all platforms, and then YouTube is Iron Sharp K9 as well. The website is ironsharpk9.com. Submit a form. We'll get back with you, and then we'll figure out what your goals are, and I'll let you know what it takes to get your dog sharp.
Well, look, that's how we put it together right here, man. I appreciate you allowing me to be in your services and amongst your facility, because I like how you got everything set up. Even though I can't show it all, I like how you got it set up. You got some new people dogs. I think you got a big Rottweiler out there. I think I might have seen him online once before. Mm-hmm. You got these other animals that you putting together. Look, you doing your thing, and I'm glad you took time out your day to allow me to speak with you about how you getting it done. And the next time I catch you, I want to be able to see you in action. So I'm gonna have to come around you one day when you put somebody's dog together in the beginning, not toward the end, cause I want to catch that. But until then, man, Stan, this is your boy Nick Lovin' D. We up here. We'll let it.
Hey, man. Hey.
We gonna allow the world to see what's going on, and we gonna holler at you boys later.
Appreciate it. Y'all
Peace
take
out.
care.